Hi, everyone. I'm Natalia Zukerman here with SoulCall Ministries for the Wake Up Wednesday, Wake Up with the Consciousness Cafe. It is my great honor and pleasure to have the wonderful Marie de Silva as our guest today. She is the founder of the Jacaranda Foundation, which is an incredible orphanage and school in Malawi, Africa. And I met Marie, gosh, it's almost 4 years ago now that I was in Africa for a month playing music in 4 different countries. Malawi was our last stop, and Jacaranda was one of the very last stops we made, if not the last one. I can't quite remember, but wow, what an amazing, amazing place. So I'm just so thrilled that you could join us today all the way from Malawi and be with us through the ether. And I just want to know a little bit about your incredible story. I want to share it with our community here. It's so incredibly inspiring. So tell us a little bit about how Jacaranda came to be.
Hello, and thank you for being on the show today. And it was such a pleasure having you at the school and the music. And I know it was jubilation in the hall on that day when you were there with us. So hello, everyone. Well, I'm Marie de Silva, and I was born here in Malawi, raised in Malawi, and then left Malawi to move to England to a little further study, and then ended up in America. And I worked as a nanny for 19 years. And within that time that I was working as a nanny for 19 years, word came to me that, of course, this was the time when the AIDS pandemic hit Malawi very hard, and it was hitting the world very hard. But in Malawi, it was very hard hit because we did not have the medications. We are known as the third poorest country in the world, even as of today. And within this time, many people were dying of AIDS, and I've lost 14 members of my family to AIDS, including my father, my 2 brothers, my nieces, my nephews, and they died within the time that I was working as a nanny in the USA. After they passed, I just felt very helpless being away from home, not being able to come home because I couldn't even afford the airfare, the nanny wages that I was earning, and I was not able to do that. But I was grieving and just felt that helpless. And when I heard that a school in my village was closing, and most of the children were orphaned by AIDS, and this was in 2002. I asked my mother if we could open up my childhood home where I was raised in, where my mother was renting since my dad passed. He hadn't left her a pension or anything, so she was renting so she could get an income from it. So I asked my mom if we could open this house where I then would be able to send her a third of my salary to reimburse her, but the third of my salary would be able for us to take these children from this school that was closing in this Baptist church, bring them in so that we could provide them with schooling and an education. I believed in education because we came from a family of 10, not from a wealthy family, from a poor family, but my parents believed in education, and each and every one of us was educated, and we were able to stand on our own 2 feet. My nanny work was by choice. I graduated, but was by choice because of a couple of things that I was going through in my life at that time. I decided just to go up and do nannying. But I believed, and my mother believed, that the way out of poverty for these children would be through an education. So we opened up my childhood home. My mother brought in these 50 children. There were no desks, there were no blackboards, there was nothing. They sat on the floors. And in my bedroom, in my living room, in the dining room, the kitchen was a staff room. Our pantry was a library, small little library with 11 books. And what I did was every month I sent a third of my salary that I earned in America home to my mother so we could keep these children in school. So that was in 2002. I did that until 2007. Within this time, the school was just growing, loads of kids in the school, and none of them were graduating, but I believed in keeping the kids there. My mother then passed, and a friend of mine went and helped me take care of the school once I continued my work. In 2007, the same friend who went to Malawi wrote to CNN and told them my story and nominated me for the CNN Heroes Award, which I didn't even know about. And I got the CNN Heroes Award in 2008. And this changed my life, the children's life. And today, because then people started sending me donations from everywhere, which I could not believe that was coming. It was like manna from heaven, which I truly believe it was. Was and is still is. And and I took that money. I continued to work as a nanny. I took that money and saved it, because what was more important was for us to take these now 280 children who are in my house, primary and secondary school, and build them a proper school. Wow. For the secondary level, the high school. So within 6 months of CNN Heroes Award, I was able to build a secondary school, and then from then on to build toilets with, definitely first was toilets with running water, because we only used pit latrines for the 280 kids. And the school just started to grow and grow and grow with these, the help that I was getting, to the extent where towards the end of the first year in 2010, this was in 2008, 2009, I put in teachers, qualified teachers, but because before that, I was only having student teachers because I couldn't afford to pay qualified teachers. So we brought in qualified teachers, to cut this long story short, we have today sent over 100 children to students to college. Students are literally in top colleges in Africa, in Botswana, in Kenya, in Zimbabwe. 2 more are waiting to go to Mauritius to do their 4-year in bachelor's degrees. And yes, this is the only school in Malawi that provides free education, free nutrition, because they get 2 meals of porridge a day, and free medical attention, which is because a number of the kids in the school are HIV. So we make sure that the kids are going to a hospital, they're getting their medications. We've built a clinic on the campus. From 11 books in the library, today we have 2 libraries, a secondary school library and a primary school library, which we now have over 10,000 books in the library. We now do outreach where we put libraries in public schools. We go into public schools and we take a room, we decorate it. Since most of our students in our school are artists, they come in and they decorate it. We put shelves and desks, and then we donate books, at least 2,000 to 3,000 books in a library. And now we've put 17 libraries in schools, public schools in Malawi. So we do a lot of outreach. We're building a vocational school and a preschool, and we've opened up a cultural center where just because the kids at our school love music and they love to dance and they love art, visual arts, we've encouraged that, because being orphans, I felt that they needed this for their expression and to do well. And we've seen them do well in school just because we've given them the art side of it, where they perform, their performers, their artists, their what can I say? Their theater. They love theater. All this expression comes out of them. And today they are one of the students, some of the students in Malawi who score the highest points at the high school level. And that's why they're being picked to go into these universities in Africa. So really, my story is about just believing in oneself and working towards it, but at the same time working towards it at a pace that you take a step at a time. You don't have to panic, because I didn't. For years I believed, before CNN came, and I still believe that even if CNN didn't come, I would still be doing what I'm doing, and it would and kids would be going to college, because that's what I felt when they were sitting on that floor. Because some of the kids who sat on the floor with no desks, with no blackboards, today are working in banks. One of them is an accountant. He's working with us at the school. He's an accountant at the school. One of them is a teacher at our school. And he's gone through all the, he's graduated at the highest of level that you can be a teacher. So it's all about one believing and in oneself and for the betterment of others. And in my case, it's been of children, because I personally believe that these children are our future. And being an orphan is not an imperfection. It isn't. An orphan is just like any other child in the world. The only thing is that they don't have the means and the materials and the utensils that they can use to progress. But when they're given this, it's amazing what they can do. They can even be higher. I mean, I worked as a nanny for 19 years in America, and I am just baffled by what I see with these children who are living in these mud houses and what they can achieve to the children that I worked with in America, who were amazing, who are now have finished college and are working, and some of them are college and they're artists and but what they have done in America, the children at Jacaranda are doing it because we've been able to give them the materials, and we've been able to listen to them, and we've been able to give them what I always say is that my 19 years as a nanny, when working as a nanny, I felt that the children needed love, the children needed attention, the children needed food, the children needed medical, when the child was sick. And this happened to the children in America for me, and it easily came to them. So when I came back to Malawi, I felt that these children needed the same. They needed exactly the same as what I saw the children in America were having. So I worked to try and give these children that, just because I felt that they could be achievers too.
Well, you've created such an atmosphere of joy. When you walk into this place, it is just the most vibrant. The children are so excited to be there, to learn from each other, to learn from you. You are such a light, and your story is so incredibly beautiful. I remember walking through and you were teaching some of the young women to sew so that they could sew their own sanitary pads, because you explained to us that when women reach the age of menstruation, they stop going to school often in Africa. So you created this program for them to create little micro businesses for themselves too, the empowerment that you're giving these children.
Yeah. One of the nicest things since you've actually left was in the beginning, we were helping the very poor, underprivileged families with home support. But then I came with this program, which is a microcredit loan, where first of all, we take the ladies and the mothers of the children in our school, because unfortunately, most of them are the women in the school, and the mothers of the kids who are at our school. So what I did was we created an entrepreneurship program where they will study business learn how to run a business, learn how to manage their business, learn how to save. They open bank accounts. And then at the end of the course, which is either a 3-month course or a 6-month course, we give them a microcredit loan. And that microcredit loan, they start their businesses. And it's one of the most beautiful things that has happened, because now these women are able to have their own businesses and are able to take care of their children. Now, by taking care of their children, the children are then able to come to school just like any other kid that is in a private, I won't say in a private school, but because they have food at home, the mother is able to provide soap and food and maybe a clothing, and to live stably at their home due to this business that she has started. And the women have been incredible, They've got, I mean, they're making so much profits, but that has come with the coming to school. And next week we have 45 new women who are going to start their entrepreneurship class lessons. So really help the community. And it's over 200 women now that we've given the microcredit loans to.
Wow. So, how can we support you? How do we get in touch with you, and what's the best way to be of support to Jacaranda?
Yes, and if you go on our website, jacarandafoundation.org, we have our How to Donate page. And through those donations, this is what keeps us yearly moving. An annual tuition for one child. So it's what we say is like $20 a month. $20 a month is going to help the child stay in school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And through those donations of $20 a month, we have been able to keep the kids in school, because here
I think about you sometimes walking through your childhood home and wonder if you think about little Marie, and if she could know where you are now, everything that you've done with your life, what would you tell a little person maybe who has a dream of helping people in the world? What would be your advice to a little Marie?
You see, I mean, there were so many things I wanted to be when I was little. And I found myself with this calling. So I would say to a little girl, just look around you, venture into what you like, embrace the things that come into your life, because one day you will find your calling. And at the same time, don't worry when things don't work, and go your way. But if you believe that that's what you want, and don't be afraid when there are little step backs. Continue to enjoy, not even enjoy, continue to embrace and to think about what you would like to do, and what you have chosen to do. You can put it aside for a little while and come back to it later. There's just so much I tell the kids at the school, to be themselves, to not panic when things are not working their way, to just go for it, and to do it with a lot of love, and to do it with thinking about not hurting anybody else, and not panicking that it has to be done at that same moment. There's just so much. I usually sit with the kids at the school, boys and girls, and they come to me and ask me those questions. They're afraid. They don't know, he wants to be this, but at the other hand, he wants to be this too. And I say, well, don't leave both of them, explore on both of them. You don't have to panic that, no, I want to be a doctor, but then I want to be a mechanic, but the mechanic is not as good as the doctor. But I'm like, well, you know what? I was a marine insurance broker and I became a nanny, and look at what happened. And I wasn't afraid. I said, I took nannying because I enjoyed working with children. But you never know what's in store for you. You took that passion and you enjoyed it and loved it, but look what can come out of it later. You can,
Well, I just said again how much your energy and love comes through everything you do. You know, before we got on today, we were talking about we were supposed to meet yesterday, and your internet went down because there was a giant storm, or 2 days ago, and you know, and you wrote to me this email. Oh yeah, and we don't have clean water in the village, but we have a solar pump, and everything will be fine. Your belief to do the next thing, as you said, you have the love, you have the belief, you're a super attractor, and you do the next correct action. You're always, your energy is incredible and infectious. I could sit here and talk to you all day, but I will let you go. I know it's very hot there, so you want to open up your. Thank you, Marie de Silva, and on behalf of myself and SoulCall Ministries, we thank you for your service in this world. We thank you for who you are, and many blessings to you and everyone there at Jacaranda.
Thank you, and stay safe, because you know, here we've been very fortunate. Our cases are very low, but I know that there you're getting into winter. You know, I lived in America for 19 years, and I know now that in New York they've closed the public schools, and it's you know, and it's a second wave. And I think about everybody out there, because and out in the world, and so we pray. We sit and we pray here. We say we've been fortunate, and we're very thankful for that, and we hope it will stay that way. But we think about the world. You know, it is not about just us. It's about everyone else around the world and what they're going through. We hear it. Excuse me. We care, and we wish just the best. Wish the best of everyone around the world, so that things work and things are okay and people are healthy and people are at peace with each other and loving each other, because everything that we do and I do comes with a lot of love and care.
Love to you, Marie. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Natalia.
Yeah.